Good morning, good afternoon. Just checking out my hair. Sorry about the noise. I don't know why it's printing twice. I've already printed it. Let's just stop that. Yeah, I did try and print it and then it said there was no ink. And I was like, ah! But I overrided that. And look, there was plenty of ink. So, hi Sonia. So what I'm going to talk about today is a few things that we can do to make our Christmas a little bit more, well, a little bit easier, and so that we have basically more energy coming out the other side, and also more energy, you know, as we're doing kind of Christmassy activities, also, you know, actual Christmas Day, and having people. Maybe you're having people to your house, or maybe you're going to other people's houses. There's just a few things that we can do which will make it easier, and they're really simple. I don't want to add extra, you know, extra jobs for people to do when there's plenty to do at this time of year. I'm just going to move my thing. No, maybe I'm not. I'll just have to stay here. Okay, so I'm going to get started. So, yeah, as I said, you know, there's lots of like, if you're watching on replay, by the way, put hashtag replay, that would be great. Yeah, there's lots of things about Christmas that make us more tired than usual. So, you know, things like there's lots to do, you know, whether that be presents, cooking, travelling, organising, extra shows and events. There's always so much, you know, planned at the weekends and stuff. Not for everybody, but for most people, or for a lot of people. Then also the food is very often higher in sugar, loads more processed foods, stodgy foods. Then the drinks, you know, whether that be more alcohol or whether they are, again, higher in sugar. Often there's reduced movement. We don't have our same routine of like perhaps going out for walks or going to the gym or whatever we usually do. Partly because we're busy doing all this stuff and seeing loved ones, etc. And also we're inside more because it's cold, and because again we're seeing people, and central heating can be really draining and dehydrating. Often we have reduced time for ourselves, which is going to take its toll, and you're often not eating the usual diet that you hi Amanda, that you are used to and that your body is used to, and that you know probably, you know, how it affects you and how it suits you. And then, as I already mentioned, you may be dealing with other people who are cooking for you or providing for you. So it's hard for anyone. But if you're hypothyroid and you are prone to feeling tired and having other symptoms, and you've got even a tiny bit more to do than you usually do, then, you know, it can be a tough time of year. So here are the tips. So number one is prioritize hydration. So it's really easy to forget that usual routine, if you've got that usual routine, if you haven't get it, of drinking enough water, because very often there's a lot more interesting things to drink all of a sudden, and so our thirst is quenched that way, and you know, that might be okay in some instances, but water is so incredibly reviving. Water is actually, you know, H2O is actually part of the energy making process in the body. The kind of chemical reaction. So if there isn't quite enough of it, then that's just instantly going to affect your energy. So that's kind of, you know, if you're feeling tired, that should be really at any time of year, but particularly now, one of the first things you check in on: am I hydrated? Have I had some water recently? And if not, then go and have a glass. Hi Liz. So what else was I going to say about that? Yeah, basically it's the first step in saving your energy, is hydrating. Okay, number 2 is tipping the balance towards anti-inflammatory foods. Now, as I mentioned, you know, this time of year, there's a lot of other foods around, which are basically the inflammatory ones. So the inflammatory foods are things like sugar, alcohol, dairy, gluten, if you're having a lot of meat, anything processed is going to be inflammatory. Also oils, which are in a lot of processed foods. They're also, you know, things like crisps even, you know, any oils other than things like olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, are going to be inflammatory. Olive oil, as long as you're not having too much, and avocado and coconut oil are anti-inflammatory. But my main suggestion here for anti-inflammatory foods, as your anti-inflammatory food, to kind of counteract the extra inflammatory foods, is vegetables. Now, this isn't like about saying, right, you need to have a green smoothie every day. As I said, these aren't drastic changes that are going to spoil your seasonal experience. But just think about vegetables, you know, have an extra vegetable with your meal, or when you're, you know, just kind of prioritize vegetables. Yeah, when you're cooking, have an extra vegetable. These vegetables are just incredible at kind of counteracting, as I say, the inflammatory foods that you're going to be eating. And try and use colour as well. So brighten the beige from the processed foods with some green or some dark red, you know, brightly coloured vegetables. Again, that means they're full of antioxidants, and antioxidants are what are going to save you, basically. And if you're feeling sluggish at any point, like even, you know, steaming some broccoli or something, and, you know, that might sound a bit weird to have as a snack, but actually if you have it with some olive oil and some sea salt, it can be really tasty. And I find doing something like that, I don't do it that often, you understand, but can be really reviving, or having just a little salad. And we don't probably think about getting salad at this time of year, but actually, because you don't have to cook it, it's really helpful as kind of a little counteracting snack, you know, grabbing a few salad leaves, again, putting on a bit of olive oil or dressing, and just kind of cleansing your palate, and it can be quite helpful in making you feel a bit fresher. Also, you could have a smoothie, like a green smoothie, if that's something that you find easy and you do anyway. I'm not, again, saying start a smoothie habit in December. No. Okay, the next thing to prioritise is protein. You may see there's a bit of a theme. I talk about these things all the time, but these are just some ideas that you can, you know, little ideas that you can do at Christmas quite easily. So yeah, prioritising protein is going to be it's massive when it comes to having more energy and having better moods, because it means basically you're not going to be on this like blood sugar roller coaster. So we get on the blood sugar roller coaster, not just from eating sugar, but from eating any carbohydrates on their own. So that could be bread and toast or crackers, pasta, and also anything sweet. So, and if you have anything like that, then you're spiking your blood sugar, and then you'll have a big slump, and then you're kind of up and down. And this, massively affects energy levels and massively affects your mood. And it's to do with part of the reason for this is to do with your brain is basically not getting, at certain points, your brain is not getting enough energy supplied to it, so your brain function suffers. We get the peaks, then we get these troughs, and there's just not enough going to the brain. The brain takes up a huge amount of energy, so it really will affect its function. So again, things like brain fog can be affected there. And also cravings. If you're on that blood sugar, roller coaster that I was talking about, then you are more likely to crave more sugar, more carbs, and then you just kind of carry on. So your key of escaping that roller coaster is having protein alongside your carbohydrates every time. So that means even if you're having if you're having a mince pie, ideally have it after a meal, or have it after having a handful of nuts, something like that. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do this every time. Don't worry about it. But if you can some of the time, it will help. Okay, and then the next one is move when you can. So again, you know, if you may not have the opportunity to do your regular exercise, so take the opportunities when they do come up. If someone's going for a walk, go for the walk. You don't have to go very far. You can even just go around the block. But moving can be really, really helpful for kind of reviving you, giving you more energy, but also, unless you're like, you know, don't go crazy, don't go running unless that's something you ordinarily do. But yeah, walking can be really helpful for that. Walking also is really helpful for circulation because, well, I don't need to explain why, but when you are hypothyroid, you very often have poorer circulation, and movement just really helps you out with that. I mean, the body is supposed to circulate blood very effectively and efficiently, but when you're hypothyroid, it's not that efficient. I mean, it's usually hopefully good enough, but not optimal, which means that's gonna affect you in symptoms. So you're helping your body out if you can move more. And also lymph fluid relies on movement to be moved around the body. It doesn't have its own circulation that's happening itself. We actually need to move for lymph to move. So this is vital. Lymph is vital for immunity. So again, don't just slump all day. Get out and move. Or if you can't go outside for a walk, can you go up and down the stairs? Can you do? I'm not going to say do some jumping jacks, but you know what I mean. Just basically remember to move. And then this is my last one. Is remember you. So yeah, basically don't forget to think about yourself and to think about having a break. Now this doesn't have to be to go for a massage, although that would be nice, of course. And if actually, you know, it is the beginning of December, if you can schedule in something like that at some point, book it in, pay for it, so that you know there's very little likelihood that you won't go. Then that would be great, because the stuff that you have to voluntarily do each day invariably will be sidelined and forgotten, because you'll get busy and you know you'll be like, oh no, I won't do that, I'll do that later. We all know how it happens. Whereas if you book something in, then that can be kind of a non-negotiable. However, we can't all be going for massages and reflexology and stuff, but you know, if that is an option. But yeah, if it's not, you could put a reminder in your phone. You could do that like kind of 3 times a day, and try not to ignore it. If you say to yourself you only have to like stand still for 30 seconds, that's all you have to do, then you're less likely to ignore it than if you say you have to go upstairs and lie on your bed for 10 minutes, even though that's not very much either. But if you can just stand and, you know, or sit, but have your feet on the ground, ground yourself, do 4 or 5 deep breaths. So kind of inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. If you make the exhale longer, you'll get into the calmer state of the nervous system a lot quicker. But make sure when you do exhale not to like force it, so don't be blowing out. Just kind of release. So inhale slowly and then just release, and that's how you breathe out. And I find that really helpful, because otherwise you can get into this kind of tense exhale, which is not particularly relaxing. So if you can do that, set a reminder in your phone so you can just ground yourself for a few breaths. Better is to like sneak a 10-minute lie down on your bed when you can. And you know, this kind of thing, don't feel bad about it. If there's other people around, you could tell them, or you can just do it. But no one's gonna say to you, why don't you go and have 10 minutes, lie down. You know, you're not needed at this moment, go and do that. No one's gonna say that to you. I mean, maybe, but not in my house. So just do it, and probably no one will miss you. Well, they might do. You'll probably get like people screaming at you in 5 minutes, but at least then you've had 5 minutes. And, you know, obviously there's loads more things that you could do, but I kind of wanted to make this quite brief because I know for lots of people this time of year is just quite hectic, and to prioritise yourself is a very hard thing to do. But it is possible, just little things. And also, you know, once you make these kind of things habits, like I have, then they're just natural. Like I'm, you know, pretty good with the protein thing now. I'll very rarely have something sweet without having a decent amount of protein with it as well. The only times that would happen is if I was, you know, at someone else's house and I felt like it was being rude or something like that. And yeah, the deep breaths I'm not so good at. Lying on my bed I do a little bit, but vegetables I'm very good at. You can just, you know, if you want seconds when you're having your Christmas dinner, go in for more vegetables. I mean, have other stuff as well, of course, but vegetables, you know, they're very powerful. And if you've been feeling a bit sluggish, or you've been feeling unwell and you're eating again, then having more vegetables can be incredible, life-changing. Maybe not life-changing. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, also, I had one more thing. Remember to let it go, in the words of Elsa, which I think, you know, at Christmas it's really hard to do sometimes, because emotions are high. When you've been looking forward to something, you know, if you're there celebrating with loved ones or whatever, you've been looking forward to something and it doesn't turn out quite as you expected, or, you know, I don't know. It's just, yeah, just to let things go and move on. And I'm not talking about necessarily having arguments or anything, but just, you know, if just, I don't know, just to move on from what you expected or what you wanted to happen, because that in the end will make you feel calmer, you feel happier. Last year we went to my mum's and we had 2 bags of stocking stuff for the kids, and one of them got left at home, and on Christmas Eve we were like, where's the bag, and it was awful, so awful. But I mean, it wasn't so awful, obviously there's worse things, but we had one bag which had like all kind of edible stuff in, and then the other bag was like, and we had their big present, I think, and we had loads of other presents for them, so it was just kind of their stocking ones. And anyway, that was an instance where I had to let it go. 'Cause I did get quite upset, but then I was like, I can't do anything about it. This is crazy. It's making me feel rubbish, and it's just pointless, completely pointless. Anyway, so we moved on, and my daughter we've just kind of done the big reveal about Father Christmas, which you kind of guessed. And I explained it to her, and she was like, oh, wow, that's why we only got sweet stuff, because she was asking questions last year. Anyway, there's a little story for you. Yeah, any questions or anything, comments? To anyone else also who's wanting to, I think the people that are watching, well, a couple of you already doing the programme, but I will be signing up more people to the programme for January, still in December. So if anyone wants to have a chat about the programme and kind of locking in these habits, because that's what it's all about, then put a comment below or send me a message. But otherwise, I am going to go. Hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas. Obviously, I'll be in the group before then. But I will see you all soon. Bye.